Welcome to WEFM's 3 p.m. news. I'm your presenter, Jessica Klein. First, on the local scene. Yesterday, December 6th, 2022, saw the launch of the National Farm Expansion Project in St. Vincent and the Grenadines through the Ministry of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture, Sabato Caesar, said that the objective of the project is to cultivate idle lands. With the decline of the banana industry in the Windward Islands, there are thousands of acres of land currently not cultivated. The project provides from the Ministry of Agriculture support in the form of labor, land, and fertilizer to farmers. Danoa Jackson, a senior technical officer in the ministry, thanked the farmers for taking up the government's offer to expand so that they will be able to satisfy the growing demand for food locally, regionally, and internationally. The ambassador of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Francisco Perez, and his wife were present at the event. The government of Venezuela recently donated 40,000 sacks of urea to the government of SVG, which forms a vital part of the assistance program. The minister noted that the project will be moving throughout the country for the benefit of stakeholders wishing to participate in the expansion drive. It was already noticeable in the area several acres of fresh land being cultivated with the support of incentives from the government. On Friday, Armando Mulford, aged 27 of Glen, handed over to the police 3 additional firearms, including an SLR rifle, after the prosecution promised to ask the court to reduce his sentence by 6 months if he did so. Mulford was initially arraigned on charges that on July 4th, 2022 at Kingstown, he had in his possession one 9mm semi-automatic pistol and 10 rounds of 9mm ammunition without a license issued under the Firearms Act. A third charge was that without lawful excuse, he had in his possession offensive weapons, to wit, 1 pair of scissors and 1 metal letter opener. At his arraignment in July, Mulford pleaded not guilty to the charges, and his bail condition included a curfew, which he broke, resulted in him being arrested and brought back to court last week. In his appearance before Chief Magistrate Rishan Brown at the Serious Offences Court on Tuesday, his lawyer, Grant Cornell, told the court that his client was willing to aid in the surrender of a firearm. Prosecutor Station Sergeant of Police Renrick Cato offered an amnesty for any firearms handed over and promised that if Mulford handed over 3 or more firearms, he would ask the court to reduce by 6 months any sentence it imposes for firearm and ammunition seized in July. Still on the local scene, as part of its trust to be a good corporate citizen, the St. Vincent Brewery Limited plays an active role in the development of our people and culture through sponsorships and donations. This was manifested through 2 recent donations, which were made to the Country Roots Volleyball Club of Dixon Village and High Performance Sports Club of Central Leeward under the Vitamalt brand. The donation were used to purchase uniforms for the teams, as well as reconnect the floodlights at the hard court, which is located in Dixon Village. This will facilitate the clubs in hosting evening matches and various fundraising events. Mrs. Shafia London Country Head, ABI St. Vincent Brewery Limited, took time out of her busy schedule to attend both events and interact with some of the young persons present. At the High Performance Sports Club handover, she encouraged the young people to stay positive and to continue excelling in sports, as many opportunities exist for career paths through sports. She was pleased for Vitamal to be part of their development and encouraged them to be great ambassadors of the brand in all aspects of their lives. An event was also held to introduce the very active Country Roots volleyball team to the Dixon community. The event, which had over 8 teams, including some visiting from volleyball clubs participating, was well attended and the team well received. In the region, 4 former staff of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, who are accused of seeking to help rig the 2020 general and regional elections, were summoned to give evidence before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, COI, into the conduct of the elections. Chevron February, Denise Bob Cummings, Carolyn Duncan, and Michelle Miller were all summoned and appeared at the COI on Tuesday. The women were represented by attorney at law UC Anderson, who made an appearance at the COI after reportedly filing a legal challenge on Monday to his clients being summoned to testify, noting that the testimony would be in breach of Article 144 of the Constitution, their rights against self-incrimination. February, Bob Cummins and Duncan were all called to the stand on Tuesday and were told by Chairman of the Commission, Justice Stanley John, that while the court did not grant the injunction, which was sought, or the conservatory order, the Commission is aware of the criminal proceedings against them in relation to the 2020 elections. He then stated, accordingly, it is our duty to remind you of the right against self-incrimination and the right to silence. More on the regional scene. The Barbados-based Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, has announced the dates for its 2023 regional examinations beginning in January. In a statement, the institution established that the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, will be held between January 4th and 31st, followed by the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment on May 4th and 5th. In addition, students will sit the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE, from May 8th to June 23rd, with the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, again taking place between May 8th and June 16th. The Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence will be held between June 19th and 22nd. CXC said that 2023 Caribbean Vocational Qualification Assessments will be conducted between April and September, with specific dates to be determined in collaboration with participating ministries of education. Regarding school-based assessments, the Council said stakeholders are also asked to take note that concessions for the SBAs will be maintained for 2023 CSEC candidates who commence SBAs during the 2021 and 2022 academic year. And on the international scene, the far-right gunman who killed South African anti-apartheid hero Chris Hani has been released on parole a week after he was stabbed in prison. According to authorities, Janus Wallace, age 67, has been discharged under strict conditions for 2 years. In an attempt to derail South Africa's transition from a white minority government to a Democrat rule, he shot Hani in 1993. Hani was regarded as the most popular politician after Nelson Mandela, who went on to become the country's first black president in 1994. South Africa's government and Mr. Hani's widow have vigorously opposed Wallace's attempts to gain his freedom. Members of the governing African National Congress, ANC, the South African Communist Party, SACP, which Hani led, and the Congress of South African Trade Unions have also expressed anger over his release. This has been WEFM's 3 p.m. News. I have been your presenter, Jessica Klein. Join us again at 5:30 p.m. for WEFM's Evening News, and we thank you for listening.